Thanks, Goose. A dark night, an abandoned house, the ghost of a jazz singer, and a family mystery are all pieces of the complex puzzle that is White Knight.
White Knight is a 3D point-and-click mystery and the first game from Awesome Studio. There's no shortage of ideas packed into this indie title, possibly too many.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a little bit of overreaching in the execution of this game, but before we talk ambition, we should start with the story.
It's a dark night, and you're behind the wheel after a long night of drinking.
That's dangerous.
A sudden ghostly apparition on the road causes you to crash. And now you're alone, injured, and need help fast. So, what do you do?
Well, you head for the big scary mansion that looks like it's the holiday house of Norman Bates, of course.
Yes, but naturally the house, known as Vesper Manor, is empty.
Hello, I need an ambulance. Can you hear me?
None of the phones work, there's mess everywhere, and it's haunted.
And so begins your point-and-click, puzzler, film noir, survival horror, satanic ritual, serial killer, family mystery saga.
Another one?
I know, right? The story is pieced together via diary entries, newspaper clippings, old photos, and random notes left around the house.
We won't give too much away about the story, but basically, the soul of a jazz singer needs to be saved, and it's your ticket to freedom.
Having a singer at the center of this does allow for some good use of music through the game, and I think this was its strongest element.
It takes eternity.
Yeah, I liked those musical moments too.
The key to surviving the night is by staying in the white light by any means necessary. Whether it's matches, fireplaces, or overhead lights. Stay in the shadows too long and it's lights out for you.
Along with avoiding the shadows, the house also has a terrible ghost infestation, and it's best to keep away from those nasties too. Your only real defense is to run away as fast as possible, but all too often the deaths feel cheap.
Yeah. I do like that weird fly swatting move you do when you're consumed by the ghosts though.
Yeah, it's like a slap fight.
Yeah. Like...
I won.
You're quite good at that.
As I mentioned before, I think the main problem is that there are just too many ideas competing for your attention.
Yeah, the game never really gets the chance to flesh any of these ideas out properly, does it?
No, and you know, blending genres can really work, but you've got to get your basic mechanics working first, especially the art style. I love the idea of an all black and white world, and we have seen that used to great effect in The Unfinished Swan and Limbo, for example, but those games gave you a much better sense of space and environment. But in this game, I was just constantly lost in that contrast.
Yeah, I found that a little bit at the start, but once I got my bearings, it wasn't too bad. I think one thing that could have helped would have been highlighting some objects or areas with a color, just so that you know where you're coming and going.
I also found some of the fixed camera angles didn't help either. I was often doing that which way am I going dance. What do you think of the puzzles, Hex?
I mean, I thought they were adequate, but not exactly challenging. You know, there's a lot of collect this, plug that in, switch this on. It becomes less about figuring out what to do and more about just performing a list of tasks.
Yes, they drove me to a new level of insanity. It was just such busy work, finding logs of wood to start a fire and light bulbs for lamps. And those brutal checkpoints don't help when you have to go back and do all of that all over again. Yeah,
it's infuriating having to replay so much. That said, at the core of this, behind all of the rough edges, is quite a good story. The writing didn't always hit the mark.
Surviving is a full-time job, not the kind of job you can afford to lose.
But I did want to see it through and save the soul of the jazz singer. I'm giving this 2.5 stars.
I think it's fantastic that a new studio has been so ambitious, and there is a lot of good work here, but no matter which way I look at it, Hex, I just did not enjoy my time in Vesper Manor, so I'm going to give it 1 star.